The weirdest NBA facts no one tells you about. The NBA was founded all the way back in 1946. It started out as the Basketball Association of America, quickly changed its name to the National Basketball Association upon its merger with the National Basketball League in 1949. Over the years, there have been many additional changes. Among them are the formation of the NBA draft, expansion teams being added to grow the league to the current 30 teams, the addition of the three-point line, and many, many more. With a long history of changes and thousands of players coming and going, there have been some truly weird occurrences, whether it be rules that are no longer used, facts about teams, or facts about individual players. Before we start, allow us to request you please subscribe, like, and comment once you finish this video. The most popular shoe was once banned. Michael Jordan took the league by storm after he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls in 1984. Jordan's acrobatic contortions around the rim made him an instant fan favorite. Back then, shoe deals weren't a major deal like they are today. A few players had sneaker deals, but they weren't paid a king's ransom to wear them. Today, players like LeBron James make more from their sneaker deals than their NBA contracts. Jordan sought to change that and signed a deal with a little-known shoe company at that time. Nike is now the biggest shoe company in the world, but in 1984 they were to upstart in the sneaker business, and they picked Jordan as their conduit to try and grow the brand. They designed a brightly colored basketball shoe in the Bulls red and black. The problem was the NBA had strict rules about what shoes players could wear, and the first Air Jordans didn't meet the requirements. Jordan wore them anyways. The NBA fined him $5,000 every single game, but Nike paid it. The publicity was well worth it. The NBA even sent Nike a letter in the second half of the season explaining why the shoes weren't allowed. All this got a lot of media attention. The shoes sold like no basketball shoe had ever before, and eventually the NBA rules changed to allow them. Nike is now the largest shoe company in the world, and the Air Jordan part has its own endorsement deal with NBA stars. Early days had a territorial draft pick rule. Some of the league's best players were technically not part of the draft. In the early years of the NBA, the teams very much needed to gain a following with the areas they were in. In order to help, the NBA allowed teams to forfeit their first-round pick in any draft in order to select a player coming out of college that either grew up or went to college within 50 miles of where the team played. The thought was keeping well-known college prospects in the markets they were already known would help fans of the more popular college basketball teams start following the NBA as well. How effective the rule was is up for debate, but many of the early stars were acquired using this rule. Oscar Robertson played college ball for the University of Cincinnati and was taken by the Cincinnati Royals in the NBA. He would go to be the first player to ever average a triple-double in a season and had 12 All-Star Game appearances. Wilt Chamberlain is the best player to be acquired using the territorial draft pickup rule. He grew up in the Philadelphia area, so the Philadelphia Warriors were able to claim him. Wilt dominated individually like no one did before him or has since. He still owns the NBA record for averaging 50.4 points per game and 27.2 rebounds per game. In total, 23 players were taken using this rule, and 12 ended up being in the Basketball Hall of Fame. You're going to need a cosigner. NBA players used to be able to jump right from high school to the NBA. Few were good enough to do it, but one of the most successful examples is Kobe Bryant. Kobe, of course, played his entire NBA career for the Los Angeles Lakers, made 18 All-Star games, and won 5 championships. None of that could have happened if it not of his parents signing on the dotted line of his first NBA contract. That's right. Kobe was too young at the time he was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets to actually legally sign the contract that was made for him to be an NBA player. His parents had to co-sign in order to make it legal. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Piston Ring goes in the middle. Rasheed Wallace is one of the biggest characters to ever play in the NBA. Wallace was drafted 4th overall in 1995 by the Washington Bullets. He played in 3 different decades over the course of his 16 NBA seasons. He made 4 All-Star teams, but was often criticized for never fully playing to his potential. He was an extremely emotional player, prone to outbursts, and routinely led the league in technical fouls. All the criticism he received may be why he had his 2004 Detroit Pistons ring altered to fit his middle finger. He never said exactly why he did it, but it doesn't take a great imagination to figure it out. The NBA guides referees' call. Many have questioned whether the NBA is real or not. Does the league use the refs to pick the winners and get the storylines they want? To get the winners who will make the league the most money? They don't go that far, we think. But they do pull some strings, if former NBA referee Tim Donahue is to believe. Donahue went to prison for fixing games and recently published a tell-all book about what the NBA does to influence game outcomes. He writes the book that the league sends videos to refs prior to games that show them specific things to watch for. Through careful selection of plays in the video, the NBA can influence games. Donahue said the videos will often show replays of calls that went a certain way over and over again. The message was clear. The league wanted that to continue. Donahue said this was the most prevalent with star players. He and the other refs would get videos showing defensive fouls of star players. This would influence them and made it clear the league doesn't want its stars in foul trouble. He said if a star player had some early fouls, they would avoid calling a foul on him. And if a collision happened, they would always call it on the other player, even if the star was the real culprit.